Hey, chat. Yeah, right on time, as per usual. Hey, chat, what's up? Happy Thursday. Welcome to Real Good Thursdays. We are live, just like we always are every Thursday, on my channels and on twitch.tv/realgoodai. Make sure, if you're watching on my stream, you're in the joint chat anyway. You should just pop over and give that channel a follow. Because, like I said, Real Good streams every Thursday. Sometimes it's just Real Good staff, Real Good team members, and sometimes we have fantastic guests on, like we do today. We usually intro Real Good. If you don't know what it is, Real Good AI, we are an ethical AI nonprofit. Our mission is to make sure that AI is developed ethically, to research methods, and try and impact the direction that AI is going, but also to partner with nonprofits and to help them take advantage of the great advances in technology that AI represents in terms of data analytics, in terms of automations, in terms of whatever they need, meeting them where they are to help them do their mission more impactfully, more effectively, and put every single dollar that they get to the best possible use, as well as the people, volunteers, and staff at our partners, so that they can maximize their impact on whatever their mission is. Like I said, today we have a guest, actually multiple guests, from a nonprofit, and I think probably technically our first partner, Real Good AI's first partner nonprofit, Doorways for Uganda. They are a fantastic organization. They are building and inspiring future leaders at the high school and college level. They are having a great impact on communities and people in Uganda. The name is not deceptive. The name is what it says it is. They help students and people in the U.S. organize to support students and people in need of assistance in Uganda. But obviously, I'm not the best person to tell you about this. They are the best people to tell you about this. And today on stream with us, we have Kimberly, we have Dylan, and we have Patrick, who all work with Doorways, and they are here to answer our questions. Answer your questions. If you're in chat and you have questions, we will be watching. I will pull questions. If you ask good ones, I will pull questions and we'll ask our guests. But and they're going to tell us more specifically and eloquently what Doorways does, what they're working on, what they've done. So yeah, go ahead. We'll start with Kimberly. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and thank you so much for joining us today, spending your time, and go ahead, Kimberly.
All right, well, happy to be here. My name is Kimberly Atkins, and I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I've been associated with our organization for about 18 years. We rebranded in 2022 and we became Doorways for Uganda. It's an awesome organization. Our mission is to eradicate poverty in northern Uganda. And so how we do that is by working with students here in the United States. As Bob mentioned, we work with high school students and college students, and we build their leadership skills, help them develop empathy. We grow their nonprofit management skills, because they're the ones who are actually running their clubs and chapters at their schools, empowering the students on their team, doing fundraisers, all to help and benefit the students in Uganda to be educated. So if you know anything about Uganda or you don't, there is no such thing as free education. And so that country, it is not a democracy, which we're used to here in the United States. So it gets really difficult, right? And so if you're impoverished and there's no free education, it's a pretty simple equation, 0 = 0. So it's really cool because the students here in the United States, they get to, again, run their own clubs. They get to decide, okay, what is our goal for the season or the term, and how will we communicate with the students in Uganda? And so whether it's WhatsApp or writing letters, that's one of the great features of the organization, is that we are creating global ties. So students on both sides of the ocean are able to communicate with one another and empower each other for success. So the beneficiaries, again, are in Uganda and also here in the United States.
Awesome.
And I am the strategic visionary for the organization.
Cool. Well, thank you. Everybody say hi, Kimberly, like we're in a third grade classroom and you're at the required assembly. Next up, we have also as a guest, and who will be playing the game with myself and Craig today, and who actually requested this game. I have to compliment, this is the most interesting request we've had from a guest on the stream. Usually people are like, oh, I don't know, oh, I only play Tetris or whatever. I haven't played this one very much, but this is an interesting game. And the requester of this game and the next guest on the show is Dylan. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Well, before I do, I just have to say, be careful, Robert, because it can be very addictive. you might get hooked. My name is Dylan Labrie. I have over 33 years of experience in consumer products good industry across sales and marketing, and so I'm working with Kimberly and the Doorways of Uganda group from a marketing standpoint and marketing capacity. So I'm really helping Doorways to build out their brand strategy and their marketing competency.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And our final guest with us from Doorways, and also all the way live from Uganda, Patrick, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Patrick Okumodong. Actually, in Uganda, we have very many names. Odong is my dad. I was born up right here in northern Uganda. I think most of you know the stories of northern Uganda. I was born during crisis. All of my life, I lived in crisis until when the war between the Lord Resistance Army and the government of Uganda ended. That is when peace actually returned, and most of the people returned from the internally displaced people camps, and they went back home to their homes. Uganda generally, as you could have read from anywhere, has been in turmoil for a lot of time. There has been social unrest. People were partnering with the local communities here in trying to transform the life of people. Generally, that is who am I and what is happening in the country. I'll give you more update in case anybody asks about it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Welcome again to the stream. It's very generous of you to give your time to what I'm sure from your perspective is kind of an interesting, silly, unusual request. But this is very interesting and exciting for the viewers. And again, chat, if you have questions, if you have anything that comes to mind, we will try and scan chat and we will try and ask them as long as they're good. No stupid questions. Well, that usually means the opposite of what I'm saying right now, but I think you know what I'm getting at. Anyway, so I'm going to switch the scene over to the game now, and we can, did the game end up actually working for you, Dylan? Did you get in the server and everything, or? Ironically,
we had it all good about a half hour ago.
I know.
For whatever reason, I can't see every time I put that code in, it says failed, so I'm not sure why.
Well, this is not the interesting thing, but the last ditch I would say is maybe if you could host it from your end and then give us the code and we'll see if we can join. But we'll keep doing that, keep handling that in the background. I guess if we're not going to be playing the game, I'll go ahead and switch back to the scene where everyone gets to see your faces a little bit better. But while we're working on that in the background, you did a little bit already, but I'm sure you have this refined very well. Could you lay out what exactly the mission is that Doorways is pursuing, but I guess also how would you set yourselves apart from other similar type organizations? Because there are a lot of educational nonprofits. So what do you do and why is that? What's special?
I think that the cool thing is that we have beneficiaries in the United States and in Uganda. And so the way we think about beneficiaries is, are we depositing something into their lives? And so in general, when you have nonprofits that exist in the continent of Africa, right, the the sole beneficiaries are there. And what we're saying is that we are taking the students here in the United States to the next level from a leadership perspective, again, from, developing service, making them aware of global issues like HIV and hunger and gender inequality. And so what happens is those students become like the preferred candidates when they're being applying for admission to colleges, and even as they, graduate from college and they are applying for careers in the workplace. People love our graduates out of our program. They have been accepted into some of the greatest and best schools, from Michigan to Ohio State, Harvard, University of Cincinnati. I hate to, almost, name the schools, but, we're really proud of them. One of our students was accepted into University of Kentucky School of Dentistry and also Harvard School of Dentistry. She wound up going to Harvard. So we like to pride ourselves on developing the best students and the best workers, employees, to, be even, greater contributors once they exit out of high school and college and become, adults.
Nice. Awesome. This kind of a follow-up question, related question. Physics Dev Quest from chat asked, while you were giving that answer, does Doris have any moving parts within the Ugandan government, or are there lobbying or advocating efforts, or is this more like person-to-person connection? How does that work, I guess?
Yeah, we're not doing any lobbying at the government level. This is really about person to person. So we have on the ground in Gulu, Beatrice Okalayuri, and she is the director of, she's our operations director there, and she's the director of sponsorship. So there is a kind of a vetting process where she assesses students, and she really looks at those students who are most vulnerable, right? Those who may have incurable disease, those who may have a handicap, and she places them in, or those who might be homeless or without parents, who are orphaned. Those students bubble up to the top and are most likely to be accepted into our program. And so it's really pretty simple. Beatrice, she's, among other things, she's like the mother of the students there, and she coaches and mentors them. If they're sick or they need medicine, she helps to ensure that they're linked up with the right support and assistance. And at the end of the day, she is ensuring that they get plugged into great schools in Uganda, so that they can, continue to progress. And then at some point, once they finish secondary school, the path is either a trade school or university, and then ultimately becoming a professional where they can then become, empowered to take care of themselves and their families. And so we don't deal with the government. We're not, qualified. That's just not our arena where we play, but it's person to person, and that's the good part about it.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you. Well, it might be hard to pick, but could you tell our audience about some of your favorite, most exciting experiences that your mission has given to you, or like big, most exciting successes you guys have had? Kind of already bragged on some of your students, but
yeah, it's really cool. We tried to stay in contact with our students, and one of our graduates, she studied hairdressing, so she went through kind of the trade pathway. And actually it was Dylan and his wife who helped with her business startup once she actually graduated from trade school. So her name is Harriet, and she studied to be a hairdresser. And so the grant that we received from Dylan and his family enabled Harriet to stock inventory for her salon. So she is now a salon owner. She has a steady stream of clientele. Yay, yay, yay. And that's really cool. And so when we were last there in 2024, we got our hair done. I got my hair braided. Some of the other travelers got, services. And so we were really proud because it was actually one of our own that was delivering those services.
Nice. That's really fun. I'm sure you must have, after the relationships you develop with the students and you see them grow, and that must be very personal, good personal connections, lasting connections. So that's lovely. This is a question for Dylan. I heard, read online, but I heard about that you developed a board game that helps raise awareness and recruit volunteers via the local clubs. Can you talk about the game and maybe the development process that you went through with that game? Well, and what it is, I guess, before we get too far into the weeds.
Absolutely. I'd love to. And like I said, it's only appropriate. A little bit of gamification on Twitch. And I'm going to try to just kind of show here. You can kind of see the cover of it, but it's called Chapter Champions. And it's basically kind of passion project of mine I've been working on for probably well over a year now. I've always been into gamification. As you see here, we can play a little bit of Snow Runner today. But by enabling people and training people through gamification has always been something that's really fascinated me. And so Kimberly and I connected and we really started downloading on really the strategy piece and a lot of things we were trying to do. And I just saw her passion and just felt her passion and just understood so much that was going on from a Doorways standpoint. It just really kind of welled up in me to the point of like, how can we do more to really recruit and help the kids that we have here stateside? And one of the things that came to my mind was putting together a game. And so I've been a big fan of role-playing games since I was in middle school. Many of us know Dungeons and Dragons, and there's a lot of other games that come along the way. And so I had this idea of creating a role-playing game that would help in the recruitment and the starting of a chapter of Doorways for Uganda. And so that's why it's called Chapter Champions. And so the whole idea of it is it's a much more very simplified version of a role-playing game. You play it with 2 6-sided dice, which keeps it pretty simple. There's no 20-sided dice, any dodecahedron type style dice or anything like that. It's just your typical everyday run-of-the-mill dice. And what happens is there's a game facilitator, so he's kind of your game manager, game master. He knows really Doorways to a certain degree, and you can have 3 to 4 players along with the game facilitator, and they kind of pick a role, and they can either kind of play as themselves, they can name themselves. There's actually a character creation component to it that kind of starts off. And we kept it real simple, so we said, there's 5 different abilities that you can have, and you can take 10 points and run them across all 5. Go all 2s and be completely balanced, so you can be, whatever you want to be. But the idea here is there's these skills and then there's special abilities that all link into what we want to see and have come about as part of building a chapter out with Doorways for Uganda. And then that breaks down once you start the game into there's literally a full year session that can take maybe 2 to 3 hours to play or less. There's another way you kind of manage it. But within the full year, there's basically 4 seasons, if you will. And within each of those, you have basically 4 phases of starting a chapter. So the first phase is, finding your faculty sponsorship. And so to do that, there is a challenge. And so within the game itself, you have to, the game facilitator gives the team or the chapter their first challenge. Go find a facilitator. And they basically roll the dice, and the game gets kind of fun. You make a score with your dice, and then based on your special abilities within people in your chapter, you can apply them to your roles. You get bonus points, and then you start building, as you can imagine, your score. And at the end of the day, there's no real users here. I think the lowest we can have is like a 10, and that's a sufficient chapter, if you will. And I'm kind of paraphrasing, there's different names for that, but and then it goes on up like 4 more levels to like just to supreme the best chapter. And so the point is, it's about the learning. And within the game itself, we have one of the stages, steps of the game, if you have Uganda fact cards. So like it actually gives, I don't know if you can see that, but the little fact cards in here that they can photocopy, they can cut them. And the Uganda fact cards themselves talk about the country of Uganda and some of the challenges. So that helps teach them as they go through the game. So every turn, you pull a card and you learn more, right? And then there is another card you pull as part of the turn-based system that gives you more bonus points, and so on and on. And so after so many turns, you're building your chapter, you go through all 4 seasons, and voila, you got your chapter off. And ideally, they come through this, this process of feeling enabled, feeling educated in terms of what they need to do from a chapter standpoint, and then ideally motivated to even carry this elsewhere. It's very modularized, very portable in the sense that you can take to another high school. So we've identified a high school in the city of Cincinnati that we're going to test this in. And so we're going to continue to move forward to build out on it. And ideally, not only is it portable, it's scalable. So we're looking to maybe put this into some other areas that we can, drive training and help others to build their skill sets in the areas of Uganda.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, that's been, this in education, not maybe a new movement, but I do feel like it's something I know I would have benefited from especially in like the younger years in primary education stuff, is gamification. I think that's really interesting. And so it's actually been in the hands of kids, right? This is students have actually played it.
Go ahead.
Well, have you gotten any direct feedback from kids playing the game, people playing the game? I guess I'm curious what they thought of it, how effective it was.
Not yet. Good thing, Robert, you're getting in on the early part of this. So the game is literally fresh off the printer.
Nice. Okay.
And so, yeah, we're literally starting the test phase, which is great. And going back to your earlier comment, made me really think, like, for those of us who worked in corporate America, we've all wanted that gamification piece. And, I had to go through the policy training and all the stuff that HR gives you, and they try to make it interesting and kind of gamify it a little bit, and it was horrible, right? You're like sitting there like, please, somebody put toothpicks in my eyes, I'm dying here, right? And so that was one of the things that probably motivated me, 33 years ago. Like, oh my goodness, there's so many ways you can probably improve this. And to your point, you get a couple of people around the table and kind of play a game. The other part of this that motivated me was my family. We played board games. We played Settlers of Catan. It's a real big favorite of ours. We played Monopoly. Nice. We played Uno. And so especially around Christmas, the holidays, we'll get together and we'll play different games. And so one kind of sneaky objective of chapter campaigns is to get the younger generation out from behind their screens, right? Because I've got 2 adult children who are in their 20s as well, and anybody who has, the younger generation, they're digital natives. They've been raised in this, and so they're very comfortable with their mobile phones, with their laptops, with their iPads, and so this totally is a paradigm shift, right? This is something different, and so part of what we'll be testing when we go to Cincinnati is just to see some of the stickiness of the game itself. So kids could completely not like this, right? Like, oh, I've got to put down my phone for a couple of hours of these. Or if I'm betting on it, I think they'll go the other way and they'll be like, oh, this is kind of nice. This gave me something different to do. I'm sitting here doing this with some of my peers. It's kind of fun. And then they're learning at the same time, which I think is exciting as well.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good bet. I do think it's hard to make I mean, I grew up with computer labs in school, and I've had, I don't know, I think I got my first smartphone in like 2008 or 9 maybe.
Yeah.
So I've
Yeah.
had the screen in front of me for a long time, and I obviously this what we're doing here is my job. So I don't dislike the internet. I don't think it's having exclusively negative impacts, but it's really hard to make that choice, especially for younger people, to be like, I like my phone, I like social media, I like whatever media I'm consuming, but I'm gonna set this down and actually enjoy something that doesn't involve the phone. It's hard to do that. Even like reading. Like I've recently I've been getting back into, well, more into reading. Law school kind of turned me off after reading several hundred pages a day of cases and things. I reached a point where I was like, I don't need to read for a while. I've been reading for fun lately, and even that centers mainly around my phone these days, because it's it's fun. It's nice to have the real book, but you can leave the real book downstairs when you want to read upstairs or in the car or whatever. I always have my phone, and an ebook is just easy. But even that is like a very old school sort of analog form of entertainment, and it's good for my brain. But it's too easy to be like, I got that. I just got a notification on TikTok or whatever, and I go from reading a book and doing something that's sort of calm and to like, oh, well, I'm scrolling again. Wait, what happened?
Yes.
So yeah, I think the kids will benefit from it, obviously, but I think they'll enjoy that, because as hard as it is to make the choice, I really do think people appreciate when you can drag them away from their screens. It's just so hard. It's so hard to do that.
Yeah, no, Robert, I'll add, I think there is a connection to the digital age for the younger generations, that this is a role-playing game by intent, because it's a little easier and more fun to do it that way. But it's also because a lot of them are already doing that online.
Right.
So whether, they're playing a mobile game or whatever it may be, a lot of this kind of, it's going to feel very similar, right? And so I think there's a bit of a bridge there, and that's going to help connect them to a certain degree too. So you kind of have to have that, otherwise you're just like that. I mean, the worst thing I can think of, and nothing against Monopoly, because I love Monopoly, but all of us know, like in my generation, we grew up on that, and half of the battle was just setting it up and then taking it down, right? Like, in the end of a 3-hour game, who's putting it away? It's like 100 pieces everywhere. And then 6 months later, you come out, pull it out, and play it again, and you've lost the thimble, right?
Yeah. Well, and especially a long Monopoly game, you get to the end and you're like, just put it in the box. Oh my God. And then the next time you get out, you're like, why did we put it away like this? Now we have to, all the money and all the everything is just tossed in. Yeah.
It's tossed. Who's going to organize? And so I think for this generation, for some of them, the idea of a board game is not always that positive. Right? Yeah. So you kind of want to change that.
Dylan, you're a trendsetter, because I actually saw in the drugstore the other day, I was actually, when we were going on vacation, just trying to get some games, right? Yes. And there is now a Monopoly that is like the size of Uno cards.
Oh, beautiful.
So it comes in a little box and about like this.
Yes.
And so there you have it.
Yes. I just wonder if it's as much fun as the old one. That's
yeah, there's no little houses and cars anymore. Nice. So interesting. Yeah, you're the trendsetter.
Thank you.
Nice. Well, that's fun. I would be really interested to see the feedback. Like you said, you never know if the kids are going to like it, if there's going to be friction points or whatever, and it might, maybe there's things that need to be refined or who knows. But it's always so exciting when you work on something like that. It finally gets into people's hands, finally get to see them play it and engage with it, but then you also get to hear what they think, and I think that's going to be interesting. It sounds like it has a lot of potential. I hope it goes well when it enters the real world, but good luck on that. And this sort of touched on this in what we talked about, but I guess one of the sort of prongs of what Doorways does is you organize students. You said you let them run their own chapters, but what's the experience like for the students? They obviously, you said they're developing skills. This is great, preparing them to be an adult. But like, what's the I don't know. I guess the boring day to day is not a great way to phrase the question, but what do they do? What are they actually doing on in their chapters on a regular business?
Yeah, so one of the ways is they're working and developing ideas on how they can drive monies to wire over to Uganda, right, to pay for tuition. And that's the challenge. There are 3 terms of school, and so they have to figure out, okay, what are the activities that we need to do to deliver our goals. And so that might be, pizza sales. So they're doing fundraising. It might be selling merchandise at a soccer game, a football game, doing a Chipotle, Corritos fundraiser. So those are some of the things that they're doing. One of the things that they love doing is the letter writing. And so now they've gotten really creative. So they're writing letters to the students who are in school in Uganda. And they're also now, creating cards. So, putting their design skills and really trying to showcase, here's our support. And so I think that's cool, because again, they are focusing now on something bigger than themselves and more than just the latest selfie, right, that they're taking. They're focusing on how can I change the world. Those are some of the things that they do. The cool thing is the annual mission trip. And so COVID kind of shut us down, but in 2024, we were able to pick back up and travel again. So going to an exotic land like Uganda, what we do is we front load with, visiting schools and doing home visits and, coaching the students. But then at the back end, there's the safari and there's, the Victoria Lake, right, which is the largest lake in the world, right? I'm from the Midwest, so I thought it was only the Great Lakes and that was it. But this lake is it looks like the ocean.
I've only seen it in like shows and documentaries and stuff. It's hard to appreciate how big Victoria Lake is, because being in the Midwest, the Great Lakes you can't see across, but like inland lakes, you're even a really big inland lake, you could basically see end to end. Like I spent a lot of summers in Michigan, and there's tons of great inland lakes in Michigan, beautiful beaches and stuff, and there's no such thing as a lake remotely the size or scale of Victoria. It's fascinating.
Not even in Minnesota. The land of lakes. Yeah.
No, that's cool. I was very lucky, and my parents were very into traveling, so in my sort of middle school, high school ages, I did get to see other parts of the world. And I could say from my experience, and I'm sure that you've heard it from the kids that you've worked with, that can really have a bigger impact than it might seem on under like having more appreciation for how dramatically different people's lives are, how wide the range of humanity is. It's really hard if you've only ever been in your city, in your schools, with your, all right, camera, calm down, with your friends and family, to appreciate, there are all these other humans in the world whose life is almost unconnected to whatever you might think it is in a lot of ways, and it's fascinating. So I think that's huge. I don't know, do you feel like the kids, I'm sure they have fun, but do you feel like you've gotten that feedback? Or
Absolutely. Our daughter went, we have 3 adult children, but she went back in 2018, and it has helped shape her life and made her the woman that she is today. So they have a blast. It was kind of scary because our daughter Noah was saying, Mom, I'm not gonna have you call me every hour to check on me. She's like, I want to be immersed in the culture. And so we had to go days without talking to our daughter, but when she got back, everything it was just the powerful stories. The cool thing about Ugandans is that they are some of the hardest working people in the world. They don't want handouts. And so and the way to get them to be able to work is to help with the educational piece. So have to plug in.
Nice. Yeah, that's a sounds like a fantastic experience. As much as I've traveled, I've never been anywhere in Africa, so that's a whole.
Sure.
Like I said, it's hard for me to even appreciate what life in Uganda looks like compared to, I've seen some Central America and some of Europe, and it's humanity is a lot of things, and life looks so different. So that's fascinating.
Yeah. There are some mean animals in Uganda, though. We saw a spotted hyena, and we went on the safari. It was not covered, so we were exposed, and we were told that they actually jumped in vehicles. So,
oh man,
so that was
that's right.
that made it kind of spooky.
Well, hopefully somebody had a gun.
I think our driver did. Yeah.
Actually, it is found along the River Nile. Like if you're going to the capital of Uganda, yeah, the longest river in the world. Yeah, River Nile.
Nice.
That is where you can see a lot of animal. Like when they're driving, they would want to have bananas from you and to associate with human beings. So
that was fun. Seeing. Were they gorillas? Is that what we saw?
Gorillas, yeah. These are gorillas, yeah.
And they steal the lunches.
You saw gorillas? That's crazy.
Yeah, they are gorillas, yeah.
That's amazing.
Very exotic place. So.
Like you have talked about animals. Like where I live. We are close to the national park, and there's a lot of interference of animals getting away from the park and destroying the crops of the people. Actually, those people who live along the park, they don't have harvest. Actually, they starved every season because the animal would get out of the park and destroy all the crops. Yeah. So there's a lot of conflict between animal and the human beings because the park is not fenced, and animal can easily walk out to the people and disturb farming and even kill human beings. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They need some of those big trucks that you were showing earlier.
Yes. That is an excellent segue because it looks like the trucks are working. Are we all in here? Is that happening right now?
You know what? I can see. It tells me you're in the garage. So it tells me Craig's here, but I do not see you. It's like you have the invisible car. It's the craziest thing.
I think I'm sitting in the garage here. I'm gonna see if I can. Oh, all right.
There you go. Okay, I see you. So I don't see Craig.
I'm somewhere stuck in the mud.
Oh, okay. We can go try to rescue.
Yeah,
Craig.
We could switch over to the game. I have no idea. For chat, we were here early. Our guests were gracious enough to show up early to try and help sort out the tech stuff, and then as we were about to switch to the live scene, something happened. Craig's computer broke, and then the game stopped cooperating. So, as per usual, technology always works most of the time. But yeah, we can get these trucks. If you never played this game, chat, basically it's really muddy, and we're gonna drive trucks around and get stuck in the mud while we're supposed to be, delivering things. I don't know if we're gonna get to that. I think rescuing Craig might be quite the mission to begin with, but
it's raining, so yeah, we're really in for it.
Well, now that you're more occupied, and maybe this is a question for whoever wants to field it, but I think our audience would be interested to hear about what it's like to work for you guys. I asked about the students, but what's it like for you guys working behind the scenes at Doorways? You're all volunteer staff, so this is not the only thing that you have cooking. I know life can be busy, but what I don't know. What would you say about working for Doorways? How would you pitch it to the audience if they're thinking about getting more involved with a nonprofit or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's really cool because we all have challenges in life, right? But it helps put things in perspective, and
Yeah.
I think it allows you to grow your empathy, and then kind of scale back some of the complaining maybe that you would have normally had. It has allowed me to be a lot more grateful for what we have. Here in the States we have water that we can drink, and then water that we can use for washing dishes and clothes, and having that distinction, that's a big deal, right? um, and so the other rewarding part about it is that just the contrast. So one of our recent graduates, Tony, he chose a medical assistant path. And when we visited last year, what we heard him say is that if it wasn't for doorways, I would probably be the father of maybe 6 or 7 children, um, maybe across 6 or 7 different women. Um, I wouldn't have, resources to support my
Mhm.
family. Um, it just, the impact of, when he told that story, it was very heavy, but it's just really rich and rewarding to see how you know enabling someone to become educated,
Yeah.
simply paying tuition, right? And getting them out of their environments that are not the best. It changes lives, and so now he'll be empowered to give back and make a difference in others' lives. So um, that's the richness of working in doorways.
Mhm.
I have actually retired from corporate America. I've traveled probably to 5 different continents, and we've been blessed um, to be able to put our children through school. They're all college graduates, um, but visiting Uganda and then coming back and kind of recreating strategy to be a better support and assistance,
Mm.
because we've actually been there on the ground and we've seen what works and what doesn't work. I don't think corporate America could really match it. It's so rewarding. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm, okay, to me, actually, working with Doorways has really supported us so much. There are issues, there are a lot of challenges that is affecting people in these communities here. So if you are working in partnership with any organization and you tell them that you are going to support the communities, like in areas of empowerment, partnership, and the rest of it, people really love to work with you. So working with Doorways has supported us to reach out to the need of the people. We were like resources which were not put into use. But now when Doorways came and started working with the local leaders and the local people of these communities, really, we realized that we have a role to play and improve the life of people. And we are doing a lot in gender equality. We are responding to issues of violence on children. There are a lot of trauma cases in these communities because they were in hardship for a lot of time. So I really love Doorways because it has brought me into the real meaning of life. I really have a contribution in this life. Challenges in these communities, yeah, many people just see them and they don't think there's a solution for them. See? So if you have a partner that is willing to empower you, willing to work with you, and actually willing to equip you with what you can really get out to the communities and transform life, that is so amazing. I count myself among the heroes, people who are really transforming life of people. That is what I love most. Not like the older days where we just sit, life continue, years just keep passing like that, and you wait for your time when you have grown old and die like that. No, not this time. Yeah.
So one thing I'll add is that about 90% of the women in Uganda are victims of abuse. So whether it's
Yeah.
domestic violence or physical, mental abuse, and that's from 10 years old to 90. And so when you go onto our website, which happens to be doorwaysforuganda.org, we actually have a resource for students, families, anyone actually. It's free. There are no locks on this. They can go and they can get support from an emotional or mental perspective, right? There are professionals. We have a therapist, counselors, podcasters that are there on our website, and they have provided their content for free. And so, again, going back to in Uganda, where some of women are really facing some hard times, right? Dealing with abuse. We have solutions from experts in how to deal with trauma, how to deal with abuse, and more importantly, how to overcome it. We probably a couple months ago, we provided trauma training, right? How to manage trauma for probably about for Patrick and about 11 other leaders in his area, and they had never had training to help them, with managing of trauma. So that was breakthrough, and the website that I mentioned, so it provides resources for mental and emotional support. Again, not just for the students in Uganda, but the students here in the United States as well, because again, emotional and mental stress and strain is a global issue. And so that's one of the things where that we're really proud of, because again, if you don't have the funds in place to go to a counselor, to go to a mental health coach, you can dial into our website and get what you need. So that's one of the benefits that makes it very rewarding.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. So that I was poking around the website, and that stood out to me. That's relatively new, it seems like, or how long has that sort of initiative been going on? Because it's built out on the website. There's a lot of resources there, it seems like.
Yeah, I wanna say maybe April, March or April of this year. So it's fairly new, and it's it's not low grade. We've got the best of the best, right?
Yeah.
In their professions.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting range of stuff too. I'm trying to remember. There was one video that was like, it was a group of like pro athletes and coaches talking about like mental toughness and fortitude in athletics, and how that might be applied to other disciplines. It has a wide range of stuff, and like you said, that's just free, openly accessible, right? There's no part of that that's like behind a paywall or for partners only or something.
It actually gives there is a tab also for like career advice as well, like if you're kind of stuck and need some direction. So
very cool.
Thank you.
Boy. Oh no, what did I just break?
Uh-oh.
Oh no. I think I just damaged my tire. It's fine. I think it's fine. Are you with us, Craig? We successfully saved Craig. Didn't want to interrupt with.
Hey, if we don't do anything else, I'm very proud. We had some teamwork there. We were able to get him out of the mud.
Wait, I wasn't looking. Did we lose you, Craig?
Yeah, I got stuck in mud again, but I figured it out. So
okay.
I'm on my way.
Oh, there he is. Okay, perfect.
I realize I have a hat. It's called the Land Rover Defender. It comes with standard all-wheel drive. It's kind of sick.
Nice.
I don't use this in the later maps in the game, because it's really like an okay truck. But in Michigan, man.
Yeah, well, for how lightweight that is relative to what I'm driving and having all-wheel drive, I assume you probably have diff locks in that too, which is.
Yeah.
I have 8-wheel drive, but it's all rear wheels, and there's no diff locks or anything. This thing is a menace to drive through the mud.
You and Craig pulled the short straw. You got the worst. So now let's see if you can ford the water.
Well, I don't know if you know, Craig. I don't know if you know how to do it, but I think that truck does have all-wheel drive, and I don't think you can lock the diffs, but I think you can if you hold left bumper and then push like Y or X. I think you can put it in all-wheel drive.
Just don't hit me.
Oh, it's all-wheel drive, but also I flooded your car out. Sorry.
We're heading to town. You can actually get gas here too.
Oh yeah, pit stop.
These roads are dangerous.
Yeah, they are.
I've-
The only
there's-
realism in this game is Michigan. I lived in Michigan for 5 years. I love Michigan to death, but man, the roads in Michigan can be a challenge. And
That's
this kind of reminds me of it.
I
Sorry.
never knew that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I was actually born in Michigan. Both my parents and most of my extended family is from all over. Whereabouts did you live?
So I've lived all over. I was born in Kansas City, Missouri, and moved to as a child. We lived in Wisconsin, Illinois, and we lived in Louisiana. And then once I graduated from college, I lived a whole bunch of other places as well. So it goes on and on.
Cool. Yeah, my mom's sort of from the Detroit area, and I was born in Pontiac. But then my dad's from Holland, up on the Lake Michigan side, up north. And yeah, so I've spent a lot of time in Michigan, summer vacations and family and stuff. That's fun.
Robert,
Yeah.
I would wish you drive in our local roads here. The roads in Uganda is very bad.
Ferocious.
I'm telling you, the Uganda map is coming soon. You gotta have Uganda.
Yeah, I do think that would be a pretty worthy addition to this game. I was just gonna say the roads in Michigan are terrifying, and especially the highways and the size of the potholes you can get.
Yeah.
I've never seen anywhere in Michigan quite so muddy as this.
This
But
is pretty bad.
this is, and like you said, they just put mountains in here. Unless it's a sand dune, I don't think I've ever seen topography this tall anywhere in Michigan. But
definitely not lower Michigan. I feel like it feels like upper peninsula. But
yeah.
there is if you look it up on the map, there's actually a Black River. This area, true part of Michigan. Yeah, I think it's in the lower peninsula. It's, like you said, it's probably nothing this high. In the lower peninsula.
Wow.
I'll save you in a sec, Craig. Hang on.
Yeah, I'd come back. Yeah.
Come here.
He got himself out.
Come here.
Thank you.
Is it a 4-wheel drive?
The little blue pickup is 4-wheel drive. The thing I'm driving is only rear-wheel drive, but I think all eight wheels are driven. But it makes the steering a little useless.
Robert, you're doing good to get this far.
Yeah, well, I don't do this kind of driving, but I am kind of a car guy. I play a lot of racing games, and I do like driving, but I'm usually trying to see how fast I can go, not trying to see how effectively I can not get stuck in mud and whatnots. Oh no, what is this? We're not supposed to move those rocks, are we?
It's a roadblock. Yeah, you have to. This becomes the rock slide is a task. You get $180 and go fix it. You have to go get materials to move it. What happens to you?
Oh, I see. We have to get.
Yeah.
I would love to see your skills there now.
Yeah. And you have to get through that rock slide to complete the map eventually. So, for all intents and purposes, you may not be able to do it. But that's just kind of part of the game. It's all these little challenges. The mud.
You're going back down.
Kimberly, you have been to Kampala. You saw how driving in Kampala is very hard.
Yes.
And there are a lot of vehicles, and traffic can take like 6 hours the road before crossing Kampala City.
It wasn't a pothole. It was a ditch that I didn't think we were going to get out. I thought we were going to be getting out to push the vehicle. We were in a van. That's the thing. We were not in a 4-wheel drive.
That's some real. That's like real live snow runner stuff. It's got stuck in it. Only difference, we don't have gorillas or baboons, so.
Yeah.
Then there are a lot of border motorcycle riders in Uganda, and they can really cause traffic here, and a lot of accidents.
And the best bananas are in Uganda. They call them apple bananas. They're really sweet. They're small too. They're only like, I don't know, 4 inches maybe. And I
Yeah,
guess
we call it.
do they taste like sweet apples?
Yeah, true. And can I tell you, the name of that banana is sweet. We just call it sweet. It has no any other name. That variety you talked about, those small sweet banana.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, our viewers who are watching right now are spread all around, so I don't know that where your need is, but I think people have been pretty interested in chat and responding pretty positively. How would you encourage people to get involved with Doorways? Obviously, I'll say it for you. The easiest, simplest thing that a lot of people would do is donating money. Always helps. Nonprofits always need money because everything costs money. Even stuff that seems like it should be easy costs money. But do you have other ways, other avenues that you would want people to get involved, or other, I don't know, other organizations or things you'd encourage people to do to put their time and effort towards?
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to start a club or a chapter, and Dylan's game is really now the roadmap to help people to do that. So it could be a motorcycle club that you're a part of, or a group at church, or your family reunion committee. And you can, we take $1 donations, or you can set a goal and say, what, across 5 of us or 10 of us, we're going to raise a couple thousand a year. Nothing is too small, and it's just a way that you can kind of get together and have fun. You can grab pizza, meet once a month, and so you can support and do something again for students 6,000 miles away, and obviously the students here. But you can also incorporate it. That's my point. You can incorporate it in something that you're already doing, whether it's a knitting group, a reading group, or what have you. And we invite everyone to go and visit with us when we go on our annual, what we call reverse mission trips, because we think that we actually learn more when we go to Uganda from the people there. Another thing that we're looking for, we're placing ads on Handshake and Craigslist, because we're looking for not necessarily more board members, but people who want to work. So if you are retired or not, and you just have a skill that you want to give, we're looking for you. We're looking for people who do podcasts, communicators who like to create things like newsletters and email blasts. We're looking for social influencers. We don't have the budget to pay at this point, and we're hoping that one day, we'll get that big grant that will make that possible. But for now, we're looking for some, interns who could, work in an unpaid capacity. Again, being a social media community manager, that's something that we would absolutely benefit if we had it. That's our biggest opportunity. Engagement, identifying new donors and then engaging with those donors so that we can make our family bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you have any questions, you can put my number in the chat. I'm happy to answer anything, and I'm available. I'm here. Dylan's available.
And
Patrick is a little bit far away, so I don't know how. But he's on WhatsApp.
And Kimberly, I'll add, you can also add any snow runner fans out there who go play as a team. You can send you a chapter champions set. So by all means, reach out.
Chapter champions, I like that.
Nice.
I have a slight question that goes along with one of the, in the chat, people were talking about how it's a student-driven organization. Because of that, I know you have a lot of different students with a lot of different experiences, and the organization allows those students to kind of thrive in different ways. So have you had any student volunteers have been able to do any unique projects or do anything really exciting? I know some of this has already been covered, but I was stuck in the mud. I'm excited to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, one of the things that we're doing, and it feels like it's very, very slow, is we're trying to replicate something that the Kiwanis International organization has done in conjunction with UNICEF. And that's taking recycled materials in Uganda and using them as building or construction materials. And so that's our vision. That's the project, and it just hasn't happened as quick as we would like it to. But that is something where we feel like it could be great for the students in Uganda, but also it will enable our students here in the U.S. to travel there and to be a part of the construction project, right? Um, so that's something that we've been holding our breath and waiting to happen, because there are many schools that we partner with in Uganda, and a lot of them need like updates, some cosmetic work. Um, One of the things that we would do with these recycled materials is we would build playground equipment. So that's another project, because when we visited back in 2024, we didn't see any toys and we didn't see any playground equipment. From a sustainability perspective, I mean, I think it's a great idea if we could. But we saw a lot of like water bottles, lots of materials that could be recycled and repurposed, and just make a difference in the lives of the children there.
One of the things that I loved was how many ways that volunteers could get involved. So it could be marketing, it could be if you are in construction, or it could be any way. So I just thought that was really cool for the mission to be able to have different ways to bring volunteers in.
Yep. Um, when we travel, it's easy to take things in our suitcases, right? Whether it's books, musical instruments, um, toys, um, feminine hygiene products. Um, it's shipping to Uganda is very expensive, so we like to leverage those opportunities where we can take things when we travel. But there's also a limitation there, right? Because at some point you have to, pay Delta or whoever the carrier is. If there are people who are, in this space as we're talking, and you work for a logistics company, and you want to give back, you have some, passion for charity. Um, we would love it if we could use you, so that way people who may not be able to give from you know a money perspective, they can donate books, again, toys, musical instruments, and leverage services or um, assets that you have that could allow that to happen. So I don't know if someone has like a private plane. I see you have trucks, but
Yes.
No, that would be man, am I always surprised at how much it costs, even just shipping within the US. I feel like
oh, yeah.
every time it comes up, it's like, that costs more than the value of anything else I'm trying to do here.
Right.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, no, I hope someone comes through. Anyone out there? Anyone got? The other thing I wanted to bring up is Doorways has a benefit concert coming up later this year. Is that right? Did you want to talk about that?
We do. We think the timing is going to be November or December. The who is really important, so you can go to Kenny Calden. Um, can I put it in? I'll put it in this Google chat, and then he's KennyCalden.com. So he's like I would say light rock, pop, soft pop, if that's possible. Great musician. So he probably plays probably 3 different types of guitars. He sings. And so how did I meet Kenny? I do ghostwriting, right? And my client asked me to write her life story. Unfortunately, she was, she kind of lived the life of a rock star. She was a victim of abuse, and there were all sorts of evils around her. And, around a bunch of creeps that didn't treat her right. I'll just say it that way. And she married this wonderful person named Kenny, who loves her like no other. It is such a beautiful love story. And so that couple, when the client told me her story, I thought, and she said, well, how much are you going to charge me to ghostwrite for me? And after hearing her story, I'm like, gosh, you've been through so much. I just didn't feel like it would be right to charge her. I said, but I am a part of a nonprofit, and maybe you could have Kenny do a benefit concert in support of Doorways. That's how it began. And so once we get the date, we'll let you know, but we're thinking it'll be in November, December timeframe. And we won't charge an admission, just, we want you to enjoy Kenny's music. Again, you can go on his website and hear a little bit more of his songs, and come. So wherever you are, I might open up our basement and let you stay here. We want you to come to Cincinnati, enjoy the concert, and that'll be really cool.
Yeah, that's great. That's
maybe just to add a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, I just request that you people need to come to Uganda, and you really see that there is a lot of need in the life of people. Like we told you, we were through a period of hardship. There are a lot of children, there are a lot of youth who are not empowered because
it's frozen now.
Uh-oh.
As I speak, there are a lot of vulnerable children who have, some of them have grown up, others are still youth who are not empowered. They're not doing anything that would bring for them any source of income, So we are looking at, actually my prayer was that if there's a way we can empower these young people, we can empower children, we empower the young people, we empower adults, and they become self-reliant, that would be the best. That's why we are really calling for need. We really need to empower our people, like what Doorways is doing, actually empowering children, getting them from their vulnerability, taking them to school, paying them school fees. Actually, is like doing everything to a child. There are a lot of children who are not empowered, and as I speak, Uganda has the highest numbers of young people, and all these young people, they are not doing anything because of lack of empowerment. Most of them did not go to school because of poverty and the rest of it. So I'm looking at, I always keep asking that, where will be the future of this country if the young people are not being empowered? If we don't have access to some of this empowerment, like she's running a lot of skilling program, they dropped out from the school, like those who produced children when they were still even children, like 15, 14 years old there. So they're being empowered and they're being taken for skill training. And a lot of them are becoming tailors, they're doing hairdressing, and this is really so good. So we are advocating Uganda need a lot of support, need a lot, whether it is just coming to advise people here, whether it's just coming to live with and experience the life in poverty. We really call for that. Whether it is prayer or giving you material support, that is really what we need to empower people.
Patrick, you just made me think of something. We're trying to be even a little more creative beyond kind of the traditional way to think about nonprofits. So what we're saying is that if you have a company and you need talent or labor, if possible, right? Our students, once they have graduated, they could come back. They could come to the States and they could work, right? So that would be an opportunity. Like we could be a feeder for talent and labor here in the United States. Again, you would have to support them to, I guess, get a visa and come here. But we've also been reaching out to cruise lines. So, Celebrity, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, we know that they hire skilled and unskilled workers. And so we've been motivating them to apply at, companies that, have cruises, do cruises, and often tap into that labor market in developing nations. Just being, creative and thinking about how can we raise funds, right? How can we empower people to work and fund their lives, right? So, but again, if you are an employer, if you have a company, again, I guess what another possibility could be, one initiative that we had thought about is leveraging our students here in the United States to work for certain corporations, and then maybe we could do like an 80-20, like, I don't know if this would be possible, there would be payment obviously for that person, that student, to work at that company, and then maybe 20% could go towards funding or sponsoring a student in Uganda. So just some ideas.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think people maybe in general underestimate the ways they could get involved. I'm sure other organizations have more diverse opportunities for like volunteering and for companies and organizations to help with their resources and expertise. But I think it's interesting that you're trying to take an even broader approach than is sort of normally done, because I've always thought this, and then there are always hurdles. I mean, the realistic thing is there's always a reason. There's usually a reason that like something isn't done or some certain company isn't doing something, but often there's not a really good reason. Often the reason is, well, nobody thought of that before, or nobody asked the right question before, and you asked the right person, and they're like, oh yeah, we actually could totally do that. But it's an interesting approach, because there's obviously Real Good is trying to focus a lot on leveraging the internet and sort of building a community that's very dispersed and diverse, and with modern technology. I mean, we've got Patrick here casually having a conversation all the way from across the world with the possibilities that are presented by modern technology. I think there's a lot of ways that people are not taking advantage of, that they could be helping out doorways, or could be helping out other organizations in your own community, or there's nothing wrong with being creative, and it's an interesting approach.
For the patriots that we have in the space here, what I've often said is, when we work with other countries, I mean, I think we help drive stability, right? And so Uganda is, we're allies, right, with them, but, when people get desperate, sometimes they do things like, the civil war that happened in Uganda back in the early 2000s. So the more that we can work and partner with, other nations, that helps create global stability. And I think that's really important for the United States.
And maybe to add a little bit, we're really so proud for Real Good, because now, you see, like me now, I have access to tell the whole world the challenges that people are facing here. We are. I always call you our brothers from the overseas. Our brothers from the overseas. So we are now coming together to really work together and better the life of the vulnerable people. And that is what I love so much with the technology. Robert said that he has been with smartphone for some good period of years. I've been with smartphone just only 1 year ago. So it was very expensive. I could not afford, but I thank God that technology is taking up this country. And okay, this is my first time to speak. I mean the second time. The other time was that period when we had training, and this is the second time. I'm so proud.
Yeah. Well, I think you raised a good point, Patrick. You, Kimberly, someone touched on this, that as Americans, we sort of come from a world where you just assume education is available, that it's, for, I think, everyone in America, it's free and it's compulsory. So, but the actual cost of education in Uganda, you said that it's a thing you have to pay for, but my understanding is it's sort of outrageously expensive, right? Not only is it a cost, but it's prohibitively expensive. I don't know. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so it depends on whether the student is in primary or, at the university level. But on average, it's about $2,000 per year to provide education, which consists of 3 terms for an individual. Obviously, those at the higher levels, it's more expensive. For those children who are in primary school, the lowest I've seen is, about, say, $100 per term for those students. Again, this is like, the 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. But we're looking at about $2,000 per year for 3 terms.
And do you have, is that $2,000 sort of relative to American prices, or is that, I guess, how does that relate to sort of like median, like, wage income or, household monies? Is that,
so yeah, that is USD. But the average annual income for a Ugandan family is about $400 per year. $400 per year. So I think that's pretty telling.
Yeah.
If you have more than one kid, right? You're only bringing in $400 a year, and tuition for one is $2,000 a year.
Yeah.
Maybe just to add a little bit, in Uganda we have private schools, and most of the private schools offers better education compared to the government school. Like in my community here, there are a lot of schools, children even sit on the floor. There are no desks, I can get to a school whereby you have like 150 pupils in one class, and is managed by only one teacher. The ratio of teachers to pupils is not actually, is not okay. At least that one now, but there are a lot of families who cannot even afford to take their children to government schools. The government has launched universal primary education. So it is some sort of free education, but again, government pays very little money, So each and every child, government gives very little money. So if the parents are to rely on that universal primary education, it will not take the school anywhere. That is why some of the schools are struggling, because government could not afford to provide some of the facilities needed for schools, and a lot of children will just be dropped out, because the school will begin to demand for some of contribution from parents to support the learning of children. But I thank God that through Kimberly, a lot of vulnerable children are being taken to private schools, and their education are being met, and children are getting out when they're fully equipped and learned. Yeah. Yeah, that is it. I studied in a kind of a school whereby I put on one uniform for the whole. We walk to school on barefoot, barefoot, without sandals, without shoes on your leg. So you don't eat at school. There is no school feeding program. You just get from home, you go stay there and come back in the evening without eating anything. Becomes so difficult. That's why there's a lot of dropped out of pupils from the school. Most of them are enrolled. Okay, a lot of children are enrolled to schools, but if it comes down to secondary school, you begin to see a lot of dropped out. And like girls, they now resort to getting married because the parents could not afford to pay them at school. And by the way, they lived their life when they are totally disoriented, confused, and they keep regretting that they wish they had gone to school. They wish their parents were able to pay them at school and they study. So they just live regretting. Even if they're adult, they'll keep regretting. I wish I had studied. My life would not be in a mess like this. That's why there's a lot of need for adult empowerment again. Yeah, in other areas of skills. That is not academic, but it's just more of skilling. Yeah.
The other thing I would say is that we don't have big overhead. We have almost zero overhead. Like we work outside of our homes. And so we know there are the big guys out there, and we know what their execs are getting paid. We're not judging because we know that they're serving a purpose. But for Doorways for Uganda, when you donate, over 90% of that money is going directly to fund that tuition of that student. The other funding, the balance of the funding is, to help us to travel there once a year so that we can keep, close ties with the people on the ground. It's important for building the relationship and being able to be in person and witness. Is the money that is going to our program, is it actually working? Are there actually students? Are there actually pencils and papers and books and report cards? Being able to support that travel so that we can do the assessment is very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big thing. For people who work in the nonprofit space and like myself, my main experience up until very recently was that I have as part of my streaming in my online career, I have done a lot of streams raising money for different organizations, and it's illuminating, I think, to go and look on like Charity Navigator or there are other sites, or if you just look at the public filings, and like you said, I'm not here to judge any other organization and how much of each dollar they're putting towards overhead or executive salaries or whatever, but I think it's not every dollar you donate to charity is not the same from organization to organization, and it's really, if you want to have the most impact you can, especially if you feel like you're giving, you don't have as much to give as you might want, or you're worried about, you wish you could do more or whatever, checking that out and seeing how much of each dollar is going towards marketing, going towards salaries, going towards overhead, whatever, is a thing you can totally see. Nonprofits have to post these things publicly, and there are websites like Charity Navigator that aggregate this information and sort of curate it and give ratings and stuff. And 90 cents on the dollar going to the mission. Well, and like from what you described, basically 100% of every dollar is going towards the mission, because the mission is supporting the students and funding, helping kids go to school. But it's also important for you to go and see in person who you're helping, and that these are real people, because I'm sure you have relationships now and you trust people, but I'm sure it's hard to get started sending money around the world to a distant place and trust, they're going to take this support that we're sending their way, this money that we're sending their way, and do exactly what they said with it, and there's no none of that's getting lost in translation or intercepted somewhere. So I would encourage everyone to check that out, but it can be very illuminating. Some organizations you might have really high opinions of might have surprising, oh my gosh, I tipped my truck over. They might have surprising publicly available information about how all of that works.
Craig can pull you that. But
so about that, I'm also stuck. I didn't want to interrupt, but yes, I'm very stuck.
I hate to say it, I went on a side mission. I'm saving a pickup truck out of a farmer's field. I'm not far away. I'll come help you.
Yeah, I think I'm safe. I'll just...
I think you need some chains, right? I have another thing related to like where the funding goes. So for the students here in the U.S., what we do is every quarter we establish a theme. So last fall, empathy was the theme, and so large group went to one of the residential homes for disabled youth. Everyone in that home, they are between the age of 10 and 25. They're all in wheelchairs and nonverbal. But that was how, we were able to stress how, or show how you can have empathy. And so there are activities that we do with the children here in the United States, and there's a cost element to that. When each person graduates from high school or college and moves on to their next phase of life, we actually have a program. It's not elaborate, but we give them a gift, right? So usually for the high school students, it's a dorm package that helps them with some of the expenses of moving on to college. So that's where some of the other funding goes, so that we can have programs to help develop our students here in the States.
Nice. I think someone that you know personally, I think actually one of the reasons Real Good got connected with Doorways to begin with, Dave Bell is in chat and said Kimberly talked about the rampant abuse of women and that's an issue, but he was wondering if you could talk at all about how Doorways is helping to support skill building of women who need jobs and opportunities and skills to cope with that abuse and the situation.
Skill building. So one of the things that we've done recently that we mentioned is the trauma training, right? So we had an expert here in Cincinnati who provided that training to help give the leaders in that community the know-how, the information, so that they could then pour it back into the community. So again, we had 11 or 12 leaders on that call, and so the idea was that they would be able to go back and do training for the people in the community. One of the things that we are looking for funding for is for a projector that we can send to Mr. Patrick, so that he, because our vision is that there would be a community center, right, where people can come and they can get skill development. They could learn how to do podcasts. They could learn how to communicate, use smart, technology, so that they can share with the world, right? Here's our, this is our predicament, our situation here in Uganda, and here's how you can help. I think the best thing that we can help our Ugandan friends and family do is have a voice. And in order to have a voice, you need technology to amplify that voice. So that's one of our visions, is to have a community center that will provide training. In the meanwhile, what we are doing today is we support a women's center. So in addition to the students who are going to school, primary through university, we have a women's center. And it's all about developing their skills in tailoring, sewing, hairdressing. If you go on our website, I know we have a photo gallery. You might see some pictures that we took when we actually helped build a hut that is used actually for a training facility, if you would, for hairdressing. So our approach is that if we can help them build skills to become a professional, to work, they can be empowered to support themselves. And then the other piece of it is just the emotional and mental coaching, training, support that we provide. If they don't have a computer, they can't go on our website, but our website is one source for that. And then the other piece of it is just utilizing resources here in Cincinnati to provide training for the leaders who will then pour it back into the community. Hope I answered your question.
Yeah.
Maybe to add a little bit. Okay, what we have experienced from this violence against women is that we have realized that our culture is really contributing a lot. most of the culture in this community, women are the breadwinner. They are to look for what to cook at home. They are to look for money to take children to school. Meanwhile, men will only be for alcohol. They'll just go to the drinking joint. Most of the men will not participate in the garden work and some of these other income generating activities. Men are they're like the president at home. So nobody has to force them to do anything. So they are like the people who control everything without their effort. So what we have realized is that most of this violence, which is actually affecting women, is because, like, if a woman begin to demand for her right, demand to be supported by a man, demand for a man to play his role, that is now when men begin to use their power to abuse women, to beat them, to fight them. So what we're doing through the training that we have got from Doorways, we are trying to bring every people to better the life of women. Like, if a woman is abused, we bring the police, we connect with faith leaders in these local communities, and we work with government offices like the community development offices, and they really work so hard to see that we get solution, a sustainable solution for the problem that is causing actually violence. If it is lack of money, which is caused by laziness of the husband, or like the woman taking up the role alone without the support of the husband, we get in to give them the counseling, and we even go extra miles of supporting them, giving them some knowledge of income generating activities. How can they utilize the available resources and get something and utilize? Uganda has a very fertile land, but people, because of negative mindset, they are not utilizing the land. So most of the challenges which is affecting women and making them so vulnerable is just from culture, and we are working hand in hand to ensure that we give a lasting, sustainable solution to the violence on women. And we are proud when a woman is abused and we get involved. Always that woman will be she will be empowered, she will speak on issues that affect our well-being freely, because we will go and equip them that women have their voices, and if they speak about things affecting their life, people need to respond and take action because they have their right. It is actually a universal right. So I thank God that they are picking up seriously and we're improving lives of women. Yeah.
Patrick is he's our hero. We have a scorecard, and every time there is a home intervention that has to happen because a couple is fighting, there's an issue of domestic violence, he and his team are actually going in and they're doing home visits, they're doing, again, interventions, they're providing marital counseling, so building resiliency in the community, training and teaching, coaching, counseling. He's, again, one of the hardest workers that I've ever seen. But I think that scorecard is helpful. It's necessary because, again, we keep a pulse on the number of incidents that are happening, and then the resolution, and then kind of those ones that are in transition, because it's a process. Sometimes it's not an overnight fix, right? But Patrick is leading that charge and helping to bring healing and restoration to families.
Yeah, awesome. That in chat, Dave said, "Thank you so much, Patrick. That's a great insight." So I think he really appreciated your answer. We are coming to the end. I meant to ask you guys before we went live, but we had all the glorious tech problems. If you have a hard out, I don't want to keep you over. So the last few minutes here, is there anything, we talked about the benefit concert, but is there anything else you'd like to promote? Is there social media? Is there a newsletter? Is there anything that you would want to let viewers know to follow, to subscribe to, or to look out for in terms of what you're doing?
Yeah, we have a newsletter. We need your email addresses. So you can like us on Facebook. You can reach us. We're Doorways for Uganda on Facebook. And, comment. I don't know how we can best get your email so that we can push a newsletter to you. But again, I can put my number and email address. in the chat here. Bob, maybe you can get it to them.
I wouldn't put your phone number.
Not the phone number, okay. We'll do info.
Sorry. When we're not live, we can exchange that sort of stuff. Just the way that I'm capturing the video, it unfortunately might pop up. Sorry, just crashed into your nice truck. Is the website the place to sign up for that? Is there a specific URL?
Yes, let me send that.
While you're grabbing the URL, I did want to say some of the cool stuff that the Real Good AI team has been able to do. I didn't want to interrupt the cool stories that we've been hearing, but some of the cool stuff that Real Good AI has been able to partner with Doorways for Uganda on has been looking at some of the data science, looking at some of their data, and getting a lot of our scientists involved to look at some of the patterns, and even just talking around different, working with some of the marketing strategies they're working on, and like, how can we help figure out patterns and what is really important to the community of Doorways for Uganda. So we've had a lot of fun, and being able to work with them since we started. They've actually been one of the first organizations we worked with when we started figuring out what this process was. So it's been really fun to be able to do that stuff and have that communication and figure out and be a part of the mission that they're putting together, because it's awesome.
So who's winning? Is there a winner?
I think probably I'm losing, if I had to define that. I currently have a flat tire, and I'm generally pretty dinged up. I don't know what 30 out of 210 suspension means, but I assume that means my leaf springs are about to fall off on my rear end here. But I don't know. We actually did. I mean, we brought that trailer all the way back across. I'm a little surprised. I'm not going to lie. That was very successful. Right up until I flipped over my entire truck.
We actually accomplished a lot. We opened up 2 sections of the map. We pulled the trailer with the lumber, so we can take it somewhere and make a little money. I banged up my Land Rover to the degree that it's a commercial for Land Rover. I think.
Yeah.
Did you see how I pulled your truck back over? That was kind of amazing.
No, I didn't think that was going to work at all. That worked great.
I kept at it. That Land Rover's tough, man. Wow. The little engine is good.
Well, sorry for all the technical issues. We ended up getting the game to work, which was great. This was really fun. And this might be the first time, sorry, Craig, first game we've played where I felt like I was engaged in the game, but it was not taking away from my ability to listen and participate in the conversation. So this was a really great game choice. Dylan, knocking it out of the park. Appreciate that. Chat. The links have been in chat. Facebook.com/doorwaysforuganda or doorwaysforuganda.org. Check those links out. Thanks so much for being here, chat. If you have any last second questions, now's the time, because I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. On behalf of Real Good and Craig and Amanda and everyone at the organization, I just want to thank you again, Kimberly, Dylan, and Patrick, so much for, one, being patient through all of the tech issues that we struggled with today, but two, being so generous with your time. We all know how busy everything is, how busy life is, but it's your time is very valuable, and this was fantastic. So thanks so much for playing along and being good sports about it. I am going to go ahead and wrap up the stream, which...
And I'll just add in, thank you, first of all, Bob and Craig and Amanda, for allowing us to be here, right? We are so grateful, really enthusiastic about maybe some potential partners that will develop because of this. Hats off to our great team, Dylan and Patrick, for your dedication, support, and just being rock stars for our students. Thanks a lot.
Actually, I also want to appreciate you so much for all what has happened. I want to thank Dylan. I want to thank Kimberly, Craig, Robert, and the rest of the team. You guys are really so amazing. I am really so impressed. I love the driving. It can just remind me of what children are doing actually in my community. Children would make toys of vehicle, you know. So they just use the local material here, and you see them driving every day. And when you ask them that, what do you want to do in the future? Some will tell you, I want to become a mechanic. I want to become a driver in the future. So it reminds me of what children are doing. And we're using this approach of like children developing toys as one of ways of self-discovery, you know. A lot of people grow in Uganda when they don't even know their purpose. So we begin identifying talents in children by them making vehicles like that. And if you go to most of the households, you see children will be rolling those toys in the community, and we love to see them. So it has reminded me, I love this drive so much. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, everybody. Thank you, chat, for being here. I am going to initiate the raid over to the Real Good channel. So whether you like it or not, you're going to have an opportunity to go and follow twitch.tv/realgoodai. Go ahead and do that. But we're going to end the discussion here. And yeah, that is it. Enjoy the music in the outro screen, chat. We will see you next Thursday for the regular Thursday stream with the team. But for now, thanks for watching. Be smart, stay safe, have a good one, and I will see you next time.
Thank you.